Hey guys, this is Yoda. In this video, we'll go over the new patch notes that were dropped on us by Chief Rebel this week for Fellowship. Quite a few balance changes. Looks like they do a balance change every week, and they'd also do some QOL changes, which seems really nice, especially when compared to WoW. So the first change, increased minimum item level to Q for some things. I think this is a really good change. Previously, you would run into issues where people would queue into the key and like be unable to do it because they didn't have enough gear. This way, like you're not gonna run into that issue as much as before. Some random stat changes and bug fixes here. Balance changes. So Helena got a massive buff here. Health gained from stamina increased by 10%. This is not that big of a deal. You can have a little bit more health, but like max health isn't that important for tanks in this game. But this is very important. The bleed from sweeping strikes now reduces all damage dealt by afflicted enemies by 10%. So Helena is just walking around with like rogue poison from WoW on crack. 10% DR, which is very high uptime when you stack haste, which you always stack haste. Is a crazy buff for Helena. Would not be surprised to see Helena running the leaderboard with this. Surprised it made it actually 10%, maybe 5% would be more viable. But anyway, so yeah, Helena got a massive buff. Mako did get a buff too to her sibling, and they also had to tune down the legendary because her sibling is actually so strong now. Basically, in the high eternal keys that I've been testing, the sibling before lived for literally one melee. Now it lives like four melees, I guess. It's like 4 seconds. You always get your global back at least when you use it in a big pull. And there is a new build with the Cloak legendary. I would say this build is not as strong as the Serenity legendary in high keys because you need the consistent DR from the Serenity to actually survive. But it is viable. I did finish a 47 Sailors with it. We didn't time, but I also didn't die the entire time, I'm pretty sure. So it is viable, just not as good as Serenity Legendary, in my opinion, in super high keys. You do play a different build when you're playing this Legendary, which I'll show now. It's a completely different playstyle. So you play this is the talent build I settled on. You definitely want to play Rumbling Stone because it increases the damage of your Legendary. You need to play Earthborn, obviously, to make more Daves. And the playstyle basically is you start off by dropping Dave, and then you use Fated Strike and Shatter Earth to trigger Earthborn. And then, once Dave falls off, you kind of need to survive. So you're punching, you're almost never kicking. You're basically just doing punch rotation uh, and trying to make your Stone Shields last. And then hopefully Shatter Earth comes up again before your Stone Shields run out. Once Shatter Earth is up, you can Dave again. And that's the pull. That's the whole first pull. The second pull is going to be a little bit harder because you start with Dave off cooldown. You can like Shatter Earth one time to get Dave, but that's going to be like your only Dave in the whole pull. So you need to survive like even longer. But yeah, if you want to mess around with it, this is the build I kind of settled on. Stone Guard is kind of an optional talent. You can swap it for Harsh Winds if you want to, or Will of Stone. But in my opinion, Will of Stone's not super needed because while Dave is tanking, you can just put up your buffs kind of for free. So I would suggest Harsh Wind if it's a tough boss, or Stone Guard if it's tough trash. And just run with this for the Cloak build. They also buffed the neck by quite a bit. In my opinion, it's still going to be the third best legendary, but it's still going to be a pretty big power increase compared to no legendary. Other than that, just some random tooltip changes. Sylvie got massive buffs, infusing root sap to 10 seconds. A bunch of buffs to her heals, although Heart Bloom got tapped down to compensate. Life Petal got 2 charges and gains cooldown reduction. So yeah, massive buffs to Sylvie. I think she kind of needed it. It was really noticeable in dungeons like Wraithtide and on Shadowlord. I figure like with Sylvie, you basically needed to triple ult the Shadowlord or you would just wipe in a high key. But with Vigor, only Vigor needed to ult the Shadowlord and you were just fine up to like double the stacks that Sylvie could heal. So this healing buff was definitely needed. Vigor also got some damage buffs, and this bug fix is also a healing buff, so healers are just able to do more than they were before the patch in general, so that's good. Tariq got a buff to this legendary, which I think people are still not playing. And they got some bug fix, and this is also bug fix. So yeah, that is the patch review for this week. Some exciting things. I think farming with Mako is going to be way more fun because this legendary, you're going to do massive damage. But at the end of the day, in high keys, I don't think it's going to be that good. And I am kind of, trying to see if any Helena starts sweeping the leaderboard with this change. This change is so big, like 10% reduced damage from all mobs basically all the time is crazy. Anyway, thanks for watching, everyone. Peace out.